Rescue Me. Great song. Fontella bass, 1965. A golden oldie. Well, to most people, a golden oldie. But to the women I married, it's their national anthem. Maybe it's the white charger, the white stallion. Maybe it's the suit of armor. But for some reason, the only kind of women I seem to attract are women with a desperate need to be rescued. If only I'll save them, they're convinced their life will be wonderful. There have been a lot of women in my life. I don't deny it. I love women. I don't trust any man who doesn't love women. My mistake is in marrying them. I'll give you an example. My first wife, Rapunzel. Great name, isn't it? Rapunzel. You don't bump into too many girls these days named Rapunzel. A lot of Britneys and Taylors and Mileys, but no Rapunzels. I used to love just saying her name. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, Rapunzel. When I first met her, she'd been locked away in a tower by her mother. That should have been my first clue. You have to wonder about a woman who's been locked away in a tower by her very own mother. But she begged me to rescue her. She said that if I'd save her, her life would be heaven. So, I thought, this isn't the right thing to do. I didn't want to go in. Something told me this wasn't right. So I told her that up front, straight up. I mean, I don't want to lie. I am Prince Charming after all. Oh, ladies, guys, relax. So, that's when Rapunzel let down her hair. Guys, am I right? There is nothing sexier than a woman who, at just the right moment, unleashes cascades of long, flowing hair. And with Rapunzel, that moment happened in spades. She shook her head, and at that moment, long, gorgeous hair just started flowing, and it never stopped. All I could think about at that moment was how that hair was going to look spread across my pillow. So what's the first thing she does after the I-dos? She cuts her hair. It's too long. It's not practical. It interferes with my backhand. I thought you cared about me. You only cared about my hair. My mother was right about you! Before the marriage even got going, it was over. So I went for a ride in the woods to get away, clear my head. And there she was. Snow White. If there ever was a woman who was misnamed, it was my second wife, Snow White. I mean, think about it. She lived with 7 men who worked in a mine, for God's sakes. Trust me, cooking and cleaning wasn't the only service she provided. There's a good reason they whistled while they worked. Before she came along, Happy was just called Phil. Of course, I know. Of course, I didn't know any of this at the time. And she told me that her mother or stepmother, I could never get that relationship straight, it's confusing. Had poison. No, it was jealous of her beauty. Yeah, that's what she said. Do you see a pattern here? Do you see a trend developing here? Beautiful girl. Crazy, jealous, vindictive mother. But hey, if only I saved her, our life together would be heaven. So I told her, you don't have to cook, you don't have to do anything ever at all in the house. And she took me at my word. She never cooked, or cleaned, or got out of her bed for that matter. As I later learned, her mother didn't banish her. She kicked her lazy ass out of the house. And that brings me to my last wife. And I do mean my last wife. The doctors told me she had a sleeping disorder. I wasn't sure what the cause was, but then she later told me in private that her stepmother had poisoned her. Do you see what I mean by a trend here? I'd heard the wicked stepmother routine before and I wasn't buying. But she stared into my eyes for so long and told me that I was the only one in the entire world who could make her eternally happy. And when, from where I was standing, there was no way that face That body could possibly tell a lie. Anyway, you know the rest. I won't get into the details. But let's just say that when we finally did sleep together, she actually slept. I know, okay. Okay, yeah. Fine, so I'm a 3-time loser. What's the point? The point is, gentlemen, learn from my experience and be very wary when a woman tells you that you are her Prince Charming. I mean, look at me, it's true. And ladies, you know what I'm about to tell you is the absolute truth. You all become irresistibly irresistible the moment you tell a man that you are her Prince Charming. And this is this syndrome that you seem to be born with, the happily ever after syndrome. And fellas, the truth is, you can't make a woman happy. She's already unhappy. It's true. It's an impossible expectation to fulfill. And if you try, you will fail. And when you fail, you'll try harder with the next woman, and you'll fail again. It's human nature. And when these expectations and failures grow and grow, and the self-doubt grows and grows and grows, and you reach that Cialis moment one night when your woman tells you, it's okay, dear, it happens to a lot of men. What? So, it is possible to break away from this cycle of expectation and failure. It's quite simple, really. If a woman comes to you and says she looks like she needs some help, if she mentions the word knight in shining armor, if she talks about happily ever after, very politely make your excuses and dash for the exits as soon as possible. I know this sounds a bit harsh and a little bit rude, and you're probably asking yourself, has this man given up his sword and tunic for a monk's habit? A few weeks ago, you may have been close to the mark. But then I met this girl. Quite accidentally. I mean, I didn't want to get into a relationship after all of that, obviously, but then there she was. Young, fresh, beautiful. We danced, we talked, and the whole night I kept thinking to myself, she's smart, she's independent, and hasn't once mentioned her mother. She could be the one. So around midnight, I went to get us a couple of drinks from the bar, and when I came back, she was gone. Just like that, gone. I didn't get it. I mean, what was wrong? I mean, I'm Prince Charming, for God's sakes. I mean, hey, not now. I'm Prince Charming, for God's sakes. I mean, women don't leave me without telling me their names. So I kept thinking, and I wondered if something was wrong. I mean, what if something happened to her? So I got worried then. I mean, I'd have to go help, right? I mean, right? So I set out and I tried looking for her, and so far I haven't been able to find her. But the only thing she's left me behind with is the shoe. Yeah. Exactly. So please, you guys especially, if you know a woman who's missing a Jimmy Choo size 6, have her call me.